All right, let's go ahead and get started. It's 9 o'clock. Number one has passed on the docket. Number two on the docket, I don't have anyone present for that case. So we're going to move on to number three. Actually, number two just showed up, so we'll go ahead and bring them in. Miss Wynn, I can't hear you. Miss Wynn, I still can't hear you. Miss Wynn, I tell you what, I'll come back to you. And she's dropped. Okay. Moving on to the next case. Counselor, good morning.
Morning, Your Honor.
All right, we are bringing everybody in. The only person I am missing is the applicant right now. Oh, they just showed up.
Okay.
All right, good morning. If I could have everybody turn their video on and unmute themselves.
I did it for you.
Mr. Olson,
Yes, yes, sir.
I'm sending a request to you to turn your video on, please.
Yes, can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. Yes, sir. If you just turn your video on, please.
The video. Okay, sure.
There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 23 CPR 039281, estate of Forster Ubanagu. If everybody could raise their right hand who intends to testify. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. You may lower your hands. Counselor, you may take it from here.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Today we'll be going through some questions. I believe Ogachuku, you're here.
You believe what now? I'm sorry?
No, I was asking whether the personal representative was present. I see her right there, though. Okay, so I'm sorry, ma'am?
Oh, your first witness.
Yes. So I'll be calling as my first witness, Bessie.
Yeah.
Bessie, according to the will, you were a witness that was present at the time of the signing of this will. Is that correct?
Yes.
And can you please state your age?
I am 80.
And can you please state your full name?
Bessie Elizabeth Ejabase.
And for the record, can you please state your relationship to the dissident, which is Forrester Obianago?
I am the mother of the wife, Stella Obianago.
All right. Your Honor, I would like to call the second witness.
You may do so.
Mr. Raymond, can you please state your full name for the record?
My name is Raymond Olson.
And Mr. Raymond, can you please provide your age?
I'm 54 right now. Sorry, 55. 55, sorry.
And Mr. Raymond, were you present at the day and did you sign this will?
Yes.
And what is your relationship to the decedent?
I'm a family friend and a neighbor.
Okay. Your Honor, these are two witnesses that had signed the will, and their names are, as they stated, they're over the age required as required by the state code. And I'm presenting them at this moment so that we can move forward with proving up this will.
Why don't we do this, Counselor? Why don't I show them the will on the screen and you can ask them questions to verify that this is the will that they witnessed, okay?
Yes, let's do that, Your Honor.
I'm going to go ahead and put that back up on the screen. 1 second. All right. Now proceed. Why don't you go back, call your first witness and then your second witness.
Okay, so Bessie.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the will that you just stated that you signed. Can you confirm again your full name and relationship to the deceased?
Bessie. I normally write E for Elizabeth
I'm sorry,
Ejabase.
could you repeat that, ma'am?
Bessie E Ejabase.
And what is the date of the deceased will? Is-
I want it to be larger because I have eye problem. But
Your Honor, is there a way that we can make the text larger on the screen?
December 22.
Okay, and are you aware of any other wills or codicils made by the deceased after this will?
I was aware of his own will.
I'm sorry?
Hey, my eye, first to be an
You could just respond yes or no, whether you're aware of any other will that was, did you sign or were you present for the signing of any other will after this will?
No.
Okay.
No.
Were you present when this will was signed?
This one?
Yes.
Yes, my signature is there. I signed my signature.
Yes. Okay, to your knowledge, was the deceased of sound mind and understanding when they made the will? Or when they signed the will in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll rest my questions there and call up the next witness.
Proceed.
Okay, Raymond, can you please confirm your full name and relationship to deceased?
Yeah, again, my name is Raymond Olson. I'm a family friend and also a neighbor and the date of my signing of this, from my remembrance, I think it's December 22nd, 2018.
Okay, and are you aware of any other wills or codicil that was made by this deceased after this will, which you were present for?
No, I wasn't. No, this is the only will I've present that I signed.
Okay, and were you present for the signing of this will?
Yes, I was present.
And to your knowledge, was the deceased of sound mind and understanding when they had
Yes.
signed?
Yes.
Honor.
Counselor?
Yes, Your Honor. Those are the witnesses that were that had signed the will under the testamentary affidavit.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and call your applicant and ask your questions then?
Right. So at this time, Ogachuko, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions, and you just answer them based on your knowledge of the will as a personal representative. And so, can you confirm your full name and relationship to the deceased?
Oh, we can't hear you, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
And when you get closer, we can hear you a little bit.
Let me turn the volume up. Is this better?
A little bit, yes.
Yes, my name is Ogachukwu Obianagu. I am the daughter of Foster Obianagu.
And what is the date of the deceased will that you're presenting?
December 22nd, 2018.
And are you aware of any other wills or codicils that were made by the deceased after this will?
No.
Okay, and can you verify the date of the deceased death?
I don't have in front of me. Give me 1 second. Let me check the death certificate.
Let me keep book. Faster.
So it's October 21st, sorry.
And were you named as the executor in the will?
Yes.
Right. Have you obtained a copy of the death certificate?
Yes, I provided it to the courts with this application.
Okay, were you present when the will was signed? And if not, do you have information about the circumstances of its signing?
I was present.
Okay. To your knowledge, was the deceased of sound mind and understanding when they made the will?
Yes.
Are there any concerns about undue influence or pressure on the deceased when making the will?
No.
Can you provide a list of all the beneficiaries named in the will?
Yes. My brother, Afam Obianagu, my sisters, Uchenna Okolo, Ifam Obianagu, and then Chuka Obianagu.
Right. Are there any minor beneficiaries?
No one under 18.
All right. Is there any specific property or asset that is bequeathed or to any particular beneficiary in the will?
I don't believe so.
You can just answer yes or no.
Oh, no.
Are you aware of any debts or liabilities of the deceased that need to be settled?
No.
Has an inventory of the deceased assets been prepared?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know of any disputes or potential disputes among beneficiaries regarding the will?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of any claims against this state or potential will contests?
No.
And do you anticipate any difficulties in executing the will as per the deceased wishes?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, I rest my questions for the personal representative / executor.
All right, heard the testimony of Bessie Ijubasi and Raymond Olson and the applicant as well, Ms. Obanagu. They testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will into probate and appoint Ms. Obanagu as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. I'm very sorry for your loss, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, counselor, anything else for the record?
None, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes the hearing. Y'all have a good day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Mr. Casimir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. We're on the record in 23 CPR 040017, estate of Dorothy Marie Casimir. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name correctly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Mr. Casimir, if you'd raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Preston, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Mr. Casimir, will you state your name for the court, please?
William Henry Casimir, Sr.
And Mr. Casimir, how did you know the decedent, Dorothy Marie Casimir?
She was my wife.
And did she die on October 31st, 2022 in Fort Bend County?
Yes, ma'am.
And so 4 years have not elapsed since that date.
No.
Was she domiciled, and did she have a fixed place of residence in Fort Bend County at the time of her death?
Yes, ma'am.
And the document dated April 16th, 2015, which we have filed with the court. Would Your Honor like me to put that up on the screen?
I've got it for you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Casimir, can you see this document?
Yes, ma'am.
And does this appear to be Dorothy Casimir's last will and testament?
It appears to be, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. That's her signature.
that's her signature on that last page?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And has this document ever been revoked as far as you know?
No, ma'am.
And did her will name the state of Texas, a governmental agency, or a charitable organization as a devisee?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay. And are there any outstanding debts in this estate?
No, ma'am.
And were any children born to or adopted by the decedent after the date of this will?
No, ma'am.
And the decedent was married to you, Mr. Casimir, at the date of her death. And is it correct that no other marriage was dissolved after the date of her will?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see here. Is it correct that no Medicaid benefits were applied for or received by the decedent on or after March 1st of 2005?
Correct.
Okay. And the decedent's will names you, William Henry Casimir, to serve as independent executor. However, there is no necessity for the administration of this estate, so we request that this will be admitted as a muniment of title only. And we also request that the filing of the affidavit required by Section 103 be waived in this matter, as the decedent spouse is the sole beneficiary.
All right, the court heard the testimony of William Henry Casimir Sr. He testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will into probate as a muniment of title, and I will waive the affidavit of fulfillment of terms as well. Mr. Casimir, I'm very sorry for your loss, sir.
Thank you, sir. I miss her deeply.
Ms. Preston, is there anything further for the record?
I have nothing further. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Stay dry.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Kozlowski, is that your client, the applicant next to you?
Yes, Judge, it is. It's Bryce Ritson. And it looks like my two witnesses are also on.
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Medina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. All right. We're on the record in 23 CPR 039408, estate of Carla Ann Ritson. All those who intend to testify, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good.
I do.
You may lower your hands. And Mr. Kozlowski, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Judge. Bryce, would you please state your full name for the court?
Bryce David Ritson.
We're here today to probate as a muniment of title the last will and testament of your mother, Carla Ann Ritson, correct?
Yes.
And she died on March the 22nd, 2023 in Harris County, Texas at the age of 63. Is that correct?
Yes.
But she was domiciled and had a fixed place of residency here in Fort Bend County at the time of her death.
Correct.
Right. She left a written will dated October the 2nd of 1989. It was made just right after you were born, correct?
Yes.
Judge, we have previously filed that original with the court, and if you would take judicial notice of that, and if we could see the will.
Now, I will take judicial notice, and I'm putting it up on the screen right now.
Bryce, you've seen that will before, the original.
Yes.
The judge is showing you the last page. Do you recognize that to be the signature of your mother?
Yes.
And she was over the age of 18 and of sound mind at the time that she signed this will, correct?
Yes.
No children were born to or adopted by her after the making of this will.
No.
To your knowledge, this will was never revoked at any time.
No.
The will does not leave anything to the state of Texas, to a governmental agency or any charitable organizations, correct?
No.
Your mother never applied for any Medicaid benefits at all during her life, and certainly not after March the 1st of 2005.
Never on Medicaid, no.
And you are familiar with, generally familiar with your mother's estate and the finances, and it's your opinion that there is no necessity for an administration of this estate, and therefore you're wanting this will to be admitted as a muniment of title only, correct?
That's correct.
And you're also asking the state, since you are the sole beneficiary under the will, that the requirements for filing an affidavit of completion be waived in this matter.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I have of this witness, Judge.
You can call your next witness.
We'd like to call Miss Kelly Thomas, please.
Proceed.
Kelly,
Yes,
good morning. Would you please state your full name for the court?
Kelly Schnar Thomas.
Kelly, you're here to verify the handwriting of the decedent Carla Ann Ritson. And can you tell the court just briefly how you knew Miss Ritson?
Yes, I worked as her educational assistant at Fort Bend ISD, and she had to sign my weekly timesheets and some other documents just verifying my employment. So I'm very familiar with her signature.
Okay, so you had seen her signature and her handwriting on numerous occasions.
Yes.
And I think I don't know if you saw earlier, the judge had on the screen the actual original will and testament that's on file with the court. And were you able to see the signatures there of Carla and Ritson?
Yes.
And is it your testimony that those were in fact her signature?
Yes.
Okay. I pass this witness, Judge.
Our next witness.
And the final witness is Chris Medina. Mr. Medina, would you please state your full name for the court?
Christopher Medina.
Okay. And Christopher, you've heard my questions of Miss Thomas. How were you familiar with the handwriting of Carla Ann Ritson?
I was Bryce's recruiter, and when he came to join the military, his mom came over and signed all the paperwork over to give him permission to join the military. And we kept in contact, and she always sent me letters and packages whenever I was deployed or whenever I was not in the Houston area.
Okay, so over the years, you also became very familiar with Miss Ritson's signature and her handwriting, correct?
That's correct.
And you were also able to see the last will that was on the screen and the handwriting of and signature of Carla Ann Ritson at that on there.
Yes, I did.
And it's your testimony that is in fact her signature.
That is in fact her signature. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have of this witness, Judge. And that's all we have. We would request that the will of Carla Ann Ritson be admitted as a muniment of title only.
All right, the court heard the testimony of Bryce David Ritson, Kelly Thomas, and Christopher Medina. They testified as to the proof of death, validity of the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate as a muniment of title, and I'll waive the affidavit of fulfillment of terms as well. Mr. Ritson, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Judge.
And I want to thank the witnesses for coming in to help us prove up this will today.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Judge. If we
All
may
right.
be excused.
Yes, you may. Have a good day and stay dry.
You too, Judge. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Hatchett. Can you hear me?
Excuse me. Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me? Mr. Hatchett, can you hear me?
We can't hear.
All right, Mr. Hatchett, we'll come back to you. Annie, message them. We're going to go back to number 2. Miss Wynn.
Good morning, Honor. I'm
Good
sorry.
morning. Oh, you're fine. It's okay.
Normally it takes me 20 minutes to get to work. It took me an hour and a half today, and I think I hit every single dead light there was.
Well, that weather doesn't help at all, that's for sure.
No, definitely does not.
All right. Well, are you ready?
I am ready, Your Honor.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're on the record in 23 CPR 040029, state of David Hong Dong. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony provided here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you.
Yes. Yes.
All right, very good. All right, Miss Wynn, you may proceed.
All right. Can you please state your full name for the court?
Victoria Handon.
And how do you know the decedent?
He's my father.
So you've known him all your life,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And how many children did he have?
3.
And at the time that he passed, was he a resident of Fort Bend County?
Yes.
And he passed away on May 28, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And has he ever discussed his will with you?
Yes.
The decedent's will specifically disinherits his 2 other children. Is this correct?
Yes.
And the original will is currently on file with the court?
Yes.
And you recognize this copy that the court's presenting on the Zoom as the last will and testament of Mr. Doan?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like the court to take judicial notice of the original will on file with the court.
The court shall take judicial notice.
The will states that he executed the will on March 10th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that he was of sound mind on this date?
Yes.
And were you present when he signed the will?
Yes. I was with him when he signed, but I wasn't in the room when he signed at the time.
Okay. And on the date of the will that was executed, was he at least 18 years of age?
Yes.
And have you had the opportunity to see him sign a document before?
Yes.
And do you believe that this is a true and correct copy of his signature?
Yes.
Okay. And he was at the time, sorry, did decedent born or adopt any children after the will was executed on March 10th, 2022?
No.
And you are requesting to be appointed as independent executor pursuant to his will, correct?
Yes.
And is there anything that would prevent you from taking on the duties as an independent executor?
No.
And have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
And he did not name the state of Texas, governmental agency, or charitable organization as a devisee, did he?
No.
Your Honor, we asked the court to probate the will. There's only one little thing. I just noticed that my order probating the will, it states that his fixed place of residence is Brazoria County. That should be Fort Bend. I can get that entered unless you're okay with just crossing it out.
No, if you would submit a amended order correcting that, please. Just
I
get
will.
my probate auditor this afternoon.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, hold on. The court heard the testimony of Victoria Hondon. Victoria testified as to the proof of death, fully the will, and other facts. The court will admit the will to probate and appoint Victoria Doan as independent executrix to serve without bond, and appraisers will be waived as well. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Wynn, anything further for the record?
That is it. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for your patience today.
Y'all have a great day. Stay dry.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Pull that out of my queue and then just get it to me when we get a new
I
one.
just did, Judge. Judge, I just contacted Mr. Hatchett's law office, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with their audio.
Okay. We'll go on to the last case on the docket, the airship, and then we'll come back to Mr. Hatchett, okay? I assume Mr. Lane is the ad litem on the last case?
Judge, it should be noted there on your paperwork.
It is not.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Behind you? Yeah. Chairs to be, yeah.
Mr. Lane, you are the ad litem, correct, in this case? In the
Yes, Your Honor.
Dolan case? All
Yes,
right.
Your Honor.
And Miss Davis, I've got Miss Talbot here. Do you have Glenna Cohn with you?
Yes, I have Glenna Kahn and I have my client Gwendolyn Dolan.
Okay, then. All right, we're on the record in 23 CPR 039625, estate of Cortland Townsend Dolan. Miss Talbot, if I could get you to turn your video on, please. Miss Talbot, can you hear me?
Daughters, they're helping her. We just need the video and her microphone on. She's gonna call her real quick, make sure her daughter.
I've sent several requests through Zoom for her to turn her video on. She's not responding.
Okay, we are calling her right now.
Okay, I'm sorry. They said you could turn your video on? Okay, and how do I do that?
There is, yeah, and then there's a microphone down there, and if you click the little microphone where it says mute, that will unmute you. There you go.
There. Okay. There. Thank you. I'm sorry.
All right, all those who intend to testify, if you would raise your right hand to be sworn by the court. Each of you solemnly swear, or do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony provided here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, may you lower your hands. Miss Davis, you may get us started with the airship.
Yes, thank you. I would like to call Glenna Kahn.
Yes.
Will you please state your full name for the court record?
Glenna May Kahn.
All right. And how did you know the decedent Cortland Townsend Dolan?
The husband of a woman that I worked with, and we became friends and socialized as two couples.
Okay. And how long did you know Mr. Dolan?
Since 1998.
Okay. And during that time, did you become acquainted with the family history of Mr. Dolan?
Yes, slightly.
Okay. And was Cortland married at the time of his passing?
Yes.
Yes. And who was he married to?
Gwen.
Okay. And that's who's standing behind us today. Okay. And besides his marriage to Gwendolyn, had he ever been married before?
No.
Were there any children that were born to or adopted by him?
No.
Okay. Did he take any children into his home and raise them as his own?
No.
Okay. And at the time that he passed away, were his parents living?
No.
Does he have any siblings that are living?
Two, I believe. Yes.
Okay. And okay, two brothers. Okay. Yes. And is that Robert Dolan and William Dolan?
Yes.
And did he also have a sister, Marilyn Abrig?
Yes.
And she predeceased him?
Yes.
Okay. And does she have any surviving descendants? Does she have any surviving children or grandchildren?
So. No.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did Mr. Dolan have a last will and testament?
No.
And do you have any financial interest in his estate?
No.
And are you being compensated for your time here today? No. Okay, Your Honor, I do pass the witness to Mr. Lane.
Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Kahn. How are you?
Good morning. Fine, thank you.
Do you remember speaking with me on the phone on November 1st?
Yes, not the day, but yes.
Okay. And as a result of that conversation, did I send you a questionnaire to fill out?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And you had that questionnaire filled out and notarized and sent back to me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in that questionnaire were some of the questions that Ms. Davis has already asked you regarding the siblings and children and marriage regarding Mr. Dolan, correct?
Correct.
And
Yes.
since you filled out that questionnaire and had it notarized on November 8th, would any of your answers have substantially changed?
No.
Okay, you haven't come across any new information or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of Exhibit A of the report of the attorney ad litem. It's the sworn questionnaire of Ms. Glenna Cohn.
The court shall take judicial notice.
Thank you, Your Honor. Pass the witness.
Ms. Davis, call your next witness.
Yes, I'd like to call Norma Talbot. Ms. Talbot, will you please state your full name for the court records?
Norma Jean Talbot.
Okay, and how did you know the decedent Cortland Dolan?
He was my brother-in-law.
All right, and how long did you know him?
We met in 1979.
And during that time, you became acquainted with his family history and his background, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so at the time that Mr. Dolan passed away, he was married to your sister, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And prior to his marriage to your sister, had he been married before?
No.
Did he have any children during his marriage to your sister?
No.
And prior to or even during that time, were there any other children that you are aware of that were born to or adopted by him?
No.
Were there any children that he took in and raised as his own child?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And were his parents living at the time that he passed away?
No, ma'am.
Did he have any siblings?
He had two brothers and a sister that passed away.
Okay. And did his sister, is that Marilyn, who we mentioned before, Marilyn Abrigg?
Yes,
did she have any children?
No.
Is it
Did
correct? She did have a child that passed away without without having any other children or grandchildren to her.
Yes.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Dolan have a last will and testament at the time that he passed away?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And are you being compensated for your time here today?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Ms. Talbot. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine.
Okay. Do you remember speaking with me on Halloween of this year or last year?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that conversation, I sent you a questionnaire, correct?
Yes.
And you filled that out, had that notarized and sent back to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And that questionnaire was notarized on November 1st. You were very timely getting that back to me. And since then, would any of your answers have changed?
No.
No new information has come to light?
No.
Right. And do you stand to inherit anything from the estate?
No, sir.
Your Honor, we ask that the court take judicial notice of Exhibit B of the report of the attorney ad litem. It's the sworn questionnaire of Norma Jean Talbot.
The court shall take judicial notice.
Pass witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Davis, anything further for any further witnesses for the airship?
No further witnesses for the airship, Your Honor. We are asking that the court sign the proposed judgment declaring airship that was filed with the court designating that Ms. Gwendolyn Dolan, as well as the two brothers, Robert and William, are the heirs of the decedent.
All right, after listening to testimony of Glenna Cohn and Norma Talbot, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the decedent's heirs are those listed in the judgment declaring heirship. I'm going to discharge Mr. Lane as attorney ad litem in this matter and award him a fee in the amount of $525. Mr. Lane, you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Going to change seats a little bit.
Ms. Talbot, you're free to go as well if you'd like. Norma, you're more than welcome to stick around.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will you please state your full name for the court records?
Gwendolyn Marie Dallin.
Okay. And was Cortland Dallin your husband?
Yes.
And did your husband die on or about June 5th, 2023 at sea in the western province of Solomon Islands at the age of 78 years?
Yes.
Okay. And 4 years have not passed since he passed away in the filing of his application, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And at the time that your husband passed away, he was a resident of Portland County, Texas?
Yes.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, your husband passed away without having a last will and testament?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And there is a necessity for the administration of this estate to pay debts and to make distributions. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And besides your husband's marriage to you, had he ever been married before?
No.
No. And did you have any children that were born to or adopted by him?
No.
Okay. And you are requesting that the court appoint you as independent administrator of this estate. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And all of the heirs, your brother-in-laws, they signed an agreement to you being appointed as independent administrator without bond, and that you'd be granted the general authority to sell property without any further consent. Is that right?
Yes.
And Your Honor, we do ask that the court take judicial notice of those agreements, of the waiver of citation and notice, and that consent. Are you qualified to serve as independent administrator?
Yes.
Do you know of any reason why you should be disqualified?
No.
Okay. Your Honor, we are asking that Ms. Gwendolyn Dallin be appointed as independent administrator without bond, and that the requirement of appraisers be waived, as this is not a taxable estate.
All right, the court will take judicial notice of those consents. Also, after listening to the testimony of Gwendolyn Dallin, the court finds the decedent died intestate and there's a necessity for administration. Court will grant the request the applicant appoint Ms. Dallin as independent administrator of the estate. Ms. Dallin, I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, anything further for the record?
That is all, Your Honor. May we be excused.
Y'all have a good day. Stay safe.
All right, you too.
Thank
Stay
you.
dry.
Annie, I have a Georgia Lucier in the waiting room, listed as an attorney.
Judge, I'm not familiar with that attorney.
Okay.
Morning,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes, Your Honor, and I apologize for the technical mishap a moment ago.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. No big deal. All right, let's get started. We're on the record in 23 CPR 039917, estate of Maria Elena Edelstein. All those who intend to testify, if you'd raise your right hand to be sworn by the court, you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony provided here today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Mr. Hatchett, you may take it from here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your complete name for the record?
Jeanette D. Edelstein.
Thank you, Ms. Edelstein. And would you describe for the court what was your relationship to the decedent, Maria Elena Edelstein?
I'm her daughter.
She's your mother, correct?
She's my mother, yes.
Okay. And is it true, is it accurate that your mother passed on June 13th in the year 2021 in Houston, Harris County at the age of 56 years old? Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And is it also true that your mother was domiciled and owned real property in Fort Bend County, Texas, prior to her death?
Yes, sir.
And thereby Fort Bend County would be the proper jurisdiction and venue for this case?
Yes, sir.
Now, would you estimate that the assets of your mother's probate estate to be described as real and personal property and household goods with a probable value in excess of $10,000?
Yes, sir.
And did your mother leave a will dated April 1st, 1997, which was never legally revoked?
Yes, sir.
Is it also true that this will named Stephen M. Edelstein as independent executrix without bond. However, the decedent and Stephen M. Edelstein were divorced after the date of the will in Fort Bend County on October 10th of the year 2011. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that the will names Francesca Villalobos to serve as independent executrix without bond, and that Francesca Villalobos is unable to serve because she died in or around January of the year 2022? Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Is it also true that David Oriana was named to serve as independent executor, but that David Oriana has declined to serve? Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that the devisees under the will consent to an independent administration and agree that you should serve as the independent administrator with will annexed without bond?
Yes, sir.
Now, there were two witnesses to your mother's will, correct?
Yes, sir.
And their names are Andrew.
I'm sorry, speak up, sir. I'm having a hard time understanding.
Okay, thank you. I apologize. Is it true that there were two witnesses to the decedent's will? Their names are Andrew Mercurio and Thelma Pineda. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. Edelstein, are you qualified to serve and not disqualified and entitled to receive letters of independent administration with will annexed?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony or a crime of moral turpitude?
No, sir.
Were any children born to or adopted by your mother after the date of this will?
No, sir.
Was the state of Texas a governmental agency of the state or a charitable organization named by the will as devisee?
No, sir.
Is administration of your mother's estate necessary because there are assets that need to be collected, protected, and distributed?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that appraisers are not necessary and this is not a federally taxable estate?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, we would ask that the will submitted be admitted to probate, that the applicant, Jeanette D. Edelstein, be appointed independent administrator with will annexed, that letters of administration with will annexed be issued, that the requirement of a bond and the appointment of appraisers be waived, and that no other action other than the return of an inventory, appraisement, and list of claims be had by the court unless an affidavit in lieu of inventory is filed, and that all other orders be entered as the court may deem proper.
All right. After listening testimony of Jeanette D. Edelstein, the court finds the decedent died testate, and although her will named and named executors, said executors are unable and unwilling to serve. A necessity exists for administration. The court will grant the request the applicant appoint Ms. Edelstein as independent administrator of the estate. Ma'am, I'm very sorry for your loss. Mr. Hatchett, anything further for the record?
No, Your Honor, that's it.
All right, very good. I'll sign the order shortly. Y'all have a great day. Stay dry.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we be excused?
Yes, you may. All right, let me pull that last attorney in to see what's going on. What is that noise?
And my clock?
I just heard like a, I don't know, a ringing of some sort. I don't know. All right. Miss Lucier?
Yes, sir.
I don't have you listed on my docket this morning for a case. Can you tell me what you're here for?
I was here for the Spain estate, substitution of trustee.
Spain. Annie, do you have anything?
No, Spain was passed.
Oh, well,
We have no agreements to Zoom. I notified the attorney.
okay, and I talked to
It-
Laurel on Friday and she didn't tell me.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. We'll see
Thank
you next
you.
time. Thank you.
okay, bye.
All right. That concludes